the Stoics didn't dance around the truth. In fact, Marcus really hated people who said, "Let me be honest with you." He said, "No, it should be written on your forehead that what you say is what you mean. If it's not true, don't say it. But conversely, I think also if it is true, you have to say it." And sometimes those truths can be hard to hear. Sometimes those truths make us uncomfortable. Nobody said the truth would be easy, but that doesn't make it any less essential. So, here are some hard-hitting, brutally honest reminders from Marcus Aurelius. The people you meet are going to suck. This is the harsh truth that Marcus Aurelius opens Meditations with. Says they're going to be jealous and annoying and difficult and stupid. They're going to be all these things. We know they're going to be these things. We have to go into the day with our eyes wide open. That's the harsh truth part of it. But the uplifting part, the happy part of it, is the second part. He says, but they can't implicate you in ugliness. And he says, more importantly, remember that you're made to work together. That life is incomplete without those kinds of people. And that we're related, and that we share an affinity and a bond for each other. We can't be surprised by it. We can't let it suck us down. And we can't let it change us for the negative. We still have to be good. We still have to do our job. We still have to play our part. You think you're a good person, but you're hurting people. Marcus reminds himself in Meditations. He says, remember you can commit an injustice by doing nothing also. And you know there's the things that we turn away from. The things we don't want to think about. The things that we say are someone else's problems. The things we say we can't do anything about. And those are injustices that we are allowing to be perpetrated. We're complicit in that unless we try to do something about them. Most of what you do is totally inessential. Marcus really says that that's a question we have to ask ourselves in everything we do. We have to ask ourselves, is this essential? 'Cause so much of it is trivial. So much of it is unnecessary. So much of it is inefficient. When you eliminate the inessential, what you get is the double benefit of doing the essential things better. So you want to constantly be eliminating, constantly paring things down. Constantly asking yourselves, do I really need to be doing this? Is it important? Is it going to move the needle? Why am I doing it? How could I do it better? You eliminate the inessential, and you do the essential better. Whenever you're anxious, whenever you're worried, whenever you're stressed out, whenever you're doubting, you know what you're doing? You're extrapolating. And the ancient Stoics would say that extrapolation is the enemy. Marcus really tried to remind himself when his kids got sick. He said, my kid is sick. I don't need to tell myself they're going to die from it. He says you can't let your life be crushed by your imagination as a whole. You can't picture every bad thing that could possibly happen. You have to stick with what's in front of you. You have to stick with what is in your control. The anxiety is not being caused by the external thing. The Stoics would say the anxiety is within us. We are the common variable between all the things that worry us, between all the things that upset us, between all the things that convince us the world is ending. We are the common variable. We are bringing ourselves, our opinions. We are projecting our feelings onto objective events. So stop doing that. Stop extrapolating. Focus on what's in front of you. Stick with idea and action and utterance. The Stoics say that is plenty to keep you busy. It's not unfortunate that this happened to you. Mark writes this to himself in Meditations. He says, it's fortunate that this happened to you. He says, 'cause I've remained unharmed by it. He was saying that his character hadn't been affected. But I think more importantly, he's saying, now I get to do something with it. That's what the obstacle is the way means. Now I get to do something with it. It's good that it happened to me instead of someone else, 'cause I'm the one that's uniquely suited, uniquely trained to do something with it. You are impotent. Your anger is impotent. Marcus in Meditations, he quotes a line from a lost play by the playwright Euripides. And the line says, and why should you feel anger at the world as if the world would notice? Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Your anger, your resentment, your grievance, You are shouting into an enormous void. You are yelling at an inanimate object. You are mad at the weather. You are mad at forces that are so enormous, that are utterly amoral, completely indifferent to you and your existence. So you might as well let it go. The best revenge is to not be like that, the Stoics would say. And if you think about it, yes, people can hurt you. But when you look at those people, who they are, why they do what they do, it doesn't actually feel like they're getting away with anything. They're their own worst enemy. It sucks to be them. So the Stoics say, you give up on revenge. You give up on getting even because you already won. You are already better by not being that person. The best revenge, Marcus really says, is to not be like that. You're weak if you lose your temper. Stoicism was a masculine philosophy, but Marcus really pointed out how sort of pathetic it is that we get overwhelmed by our emotions and we lash out at people. Men sometimes judge other men for crying, but it's strange that we don't judge each other for losing our temper, which actually does hurt people, which is of less purpose. So when you feel that sort of rage or anger coming on, the Stoics say get control of yourself, get command of yourself. Say, is this who I want to be? Is this what being a mature adult is? And the answer is almost certainly no. You're not going to be remembered. You're not that important. Mark realized, he says, run down the list, all the people that came before him. He says, what would happen to all these famous names? These names that used to sound so familiar. You know what they are now? They're like what Taylor Swift talks about. Who's who? Who's that? We all disappear. We all recede into memory. We are all forgotten. A very relevant reminder from the Stoics in these crazy times. You don't have to let this upset you. You don't have to turn this into something. They're not talking about disengaging from the world. They're just saying, you don't have to let your feelings get hurt all the time. You don't have to let everything make you anxious or worried. You don't have to extrapolate this out to what it could possibly mean. You don't have to follow every news story. You don't have to let this upset you. Marcus really says, you don't have to turn this into something. You can just let it be. You can accept the information. You can focus on what's in your control. You can focus on what you need to do. You don't have to turn this into something. Your problem is that you want the third thing. Marcus really says, okay, you did something good for someone. They received that benefit. That's awesome. Transaction concluded. You don't need the third thing. Recognition, gratitude, appreciation. You don't need the world to throw you a parade. You don't need acknowledgement. And you didn't even do anything special. You did your job, which is to do good, to help people, to be kind. You did the right thing. That's enough. The obstacle is not the problem. You're the problem. Your opinions about it are the problem. Your orientation towards it is the problem. The Stoics say the obstacle is the way, right? The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What do they mean by that? Marcus Reese is saying that there's something you get to do because of this, right? There's things that you can do now that you couldn't do before. There's an opportunity for you to act with courage or discipline or justice or wisdom. There's something you can do now that you couldn't ordinarily do. We can't let a crisis go to waste. We have to use this thing in front of us. Yeah, it seems like an obstacle, but now there's something we get to do because of it, if we do it. Part of the reason your life sucks is 'cause your thoughts suck. Marcus really says that our life is dyed by the color of our thoughts. So if we see only negative, if we only see the worst in people, if we only see what's impossible, if we only see how we've screwed up, that's going to color our perception of reality. Your life is dyed by the color of your thought. If your life is negative, if it's full of grievances, well, of course, the world is going to look that way to you. Even though he was the emperor of Rome, even though it was 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius still wanted the approval of other people. We all do. We want to be liked. We want to be respected. We want to be admired. But this leads us astray, because these people, they don't know what they're talking about. And that's one of the things that Marx really says in Meditations. He says, you have to look at who they really are. These people whose approval you long for. He says, think about what their mind is really like. He says, when you can delve into this, when you can see who they are, it loses its power over you. You realize these are not people whose respect you need. These are not people whose approval you need to crave. You just need to do what you know is right. You need to focus on what's in your control, and you leave the rest to everyone else. A person can change, but people don't change. You can change, but the world abideth forever. It is undefeated. It is exactly the same as it ever was and ever will be. This is what we see in Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. His complaints about humanity are the exact same complaints we have today. People complain. People are dishonest. People are jealous. People are lazy. People are loud. People are people. We've been waiting on the world to change for a very long time, and it doesn't. This is why Marxist reminds himself, don't go around expecting Plato's Republic. That's not where you live. That's not how things work. This isn't about being cynical, but in deciding not to be naive, we are setting ourselves up, actually, to be less cynical. This isn't to say that you shouldn't try. This isn't to say that we can't make a difference. No, that's actually the whole point. Most of all, we can't take this personally. Most of all, we shouldn't set ourselves up for disappointment or disillusionment. Don't stay up waiting for the world to change. It's not going to. If you want to see change, you have to be change. You care about yourself more than other people. You're self-interested, as all people are by definition. And yet, Mark points out, we care about other people's opinions more than our own. We care if they like what we wear, if they like what we say, if they think we're good or bad or whatever. It's insane. Trust your opinion. Develop your own internal compass, your own internal sense of whether you're doing a good job or a bad job, whether you were successful or not. You can't outsource it to the crowd. Remember, the crowd is the mob. The mob is irrational. You can't let them determine any of it. It all gets rendered very insignificant, very quickly. There's a great Roman poet, and he said, in life, Alexander's ambition was bigger than the world. The world wasn't big enough to contain him. And yet, he says, in the end, a coffin was sufficient. Marxist would say something very similar about Alexander the Great. He said, Alexander the Great and his mule driver, they both died and the same thing happened to both. And the same is true for you. Look, we change as we go through life. We take on new roles. We experience new situations. New things happen in the world. If you asked me 10 years ago if I could deal with what I'm dealing with now, I would have said no, that I'd have all this stuff going on. I probably would have laughed at you. So, you have to be open to change, but you also have to cultivate the support and the resources and the practices that allow you to deal with that change, to handle those curveballs. And that's where today's sponsor, BetterHelp, comes in. A therapist, they listen, they ask questions, they help you see things from a new perspective, and then give you advice and techniques to make positive changes in your life. That's what BetterHelp does. They're on a mission to make starting therapy easier. You just fill out a questionnaire, they match you with a therapist in as few as a couple days. You can do it from the comfort of your house, or car, or on a walk, wherever works best for you. And with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. You can click the link in the description below, or just go to betterhelp.com/dailystoic, and you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. You're being crazy letting them determine whether you did a good job or not, whether you're happy or not, whether you're a success or not. Mark says, ambition is tying your happiness to what other people do and say and think. Sanity, he says, is tying it to your own actions. So what part of the process, like when I work on my books, the writing of the book is up to me, right? How it does on the bestseller list, what people think about it, what the reviews say, that isn't up to me. So my definition of success is an internal one. I'm focused on the parts of it I control. Do I want other people to like it and care about it? Sure. I guess it's nice to have, but it's extra. It's not why I do it. Because to want that, or worse, to need it, is to be insane, and of course, incredibly vulnerable. Being clapped for, being celebrated, all the things you think you want, it's worthless. What is it? Mark says, cheering is a clacking of tongues, clapping is a smacking of hands. And by the way, who's doing the cheering and clapping? Do these people actually know what they're talking about? Do they know what's good and what's not good? No. So stop trying to chase what the crowd wants. What the mom wants is not important. You're never going to escape change. Life is change. Marcus Rice reminds us that being born was a change. Death is a change. Every good thing in your life came from a change. So did bad things, of course. But everything in life has changed. You cannot escape it. You can only accept it. You can only embrace it. You should mind your own business. Deal with your own problems. Mark reminds us, like we should stop trying to escape other people's faults. We should try to escape our own. It's going to take a lot out of you. It's going to take more out of you than you think you have. Mark says in one passage in Meditations, he's trying to amp himself to get out of bed in the morning. He goes, it's warmer under the covers here. I like being comfortable. He says, you weren't made to be comfortable. You weren't made to huddle under the covers and be warm. He said, no, people who love what they do, they wear themselves down doing it. He said, there's a limit on the eating and the sleeping and the fun side. You got to get out there. You got to do what your nature demands. And you got to understand it's going to be hard and it's going to take a lot out of you. Marcus Aurelius's prescription for these crazy times is very simple. He said, you can't be careless in your actions. You can't be confusing in your words. You can't be imprecise in your thoughts. And you can't retreat into your own soul. You can't try to escape what's happening. You can't be overactive or busy. You focus on what's in your control, which is you. You try to keep an even keel, and you say that whatever is happening, however it goes. What it ultimately is for me is an opportunity for me to be my best, to do my best, to do good. I'm going to embrace the obstacles. I'm going to embrace the difficulties. This is going to make me better. You got to stop wasting time talking about this stuff, arguing what a good person is like, what the right thing is, these complicated virtue ethics. Mark Stu says, waste no more time arguing what a good person is like. Just be one. You're going to die. That's the Stoic idea of memento mori. Life is very, very short. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. You could go at any moment. And in fact, you will go at some moment. And that moment could be very, very soon.